delivering. Next, we shall be bringing on our next session. And our next session is on exploring the vibrant potential of the orange economy, fostering innovation, sustainability, and inclusivity. And without much further ado, we shall be inviting our panelists for this session. And the first one shall be Miss Daisy Chesang, who is the Creative Pathway Lead of the Swahili Port Hub Foundation and the Global Opportunity Youth Network. Makofi ya Daisy, tafadhali. Thank you very much, Karibu Daisy. Next, we shall also be inviting Miss Felicia Solomon Tunje. Miss Felicia is a partner and the MMS Advocates and the director of the famous Sanaa Kama Biashara program that had artists being taken through an incubation period to learn how to monetize their art. Makofi ya Felicia, please. Thank you very much. Next, we shall be inviting Mr. Leonitius Leonidas, who is the project coordinator, Tanzania House of Talent. Mr. Leonidas. Yes, makofi ya Mr. Leonidas, tafadhali. Thank you. Next, we shall also be having in the panel Mr. Lucas Malcor. Mr. Lucas Malcor is the director, Alliance Francaise. I hope I've pronounced that right. Thank you. Let's appreciate Mr. Lucas. Equally, we shall be having Miss Josephine Ndambuki from Konza Technopolis. Miss Konza Ndambuki from Konza Technopolis, I believe maybe she's run late. And also in our panel, we shall be having one of our own, a very lovely lady, Miss Babelynn Mukila, who shall be assisted as she heads to our panel. Makofi ya Miss Babelynn, tafadhali. And before we welcome our moderator, we are also extremely honored and pleasured that also in this panel, we shall be having our very own PS of Youth Affairs and Arts, who is none other than Mr. Ismail Maali Madej, joining us for this particular...
Not in the panel.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, my apologies for that confusion. So next I shall be inviting our moderator for this particular session, who is none other than Miss Stephanie Maseki, to come and take it over from here.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, just 1 second before we dance to that. Miss Maseki is not just a co-moderator, and I just wanted as well to give her her due honor. Stephanie Maseki sits in the board of directors of Kenya Film Classification Board, and she has vast experience in stage and screen acting, very good experience in film producers as well, and she's a social worker and has worked with the wide community at Coast Region and mentors young talents right here. Also corporate MC and event organizer. Now we can dance to her entry. Karibu sana Stephanie. Show them what you got.
Asante sana. Thank you so much. Thank you. Asanteni sana. Ningeomba tafadhali tupate kuteremka tujaze hizi viti za hapa mbele. This is a very interesting panel conversation that I need us all to participate. And as I said before, I think in my next life or my previous life, I would have been a teacher. But it's good enough I'm an artist. Asanteni sana. Now, I would like to introduce my panelists. Kuambia wao ni kina nani na huwa wanafanya nini, and I want this conversation to be a bit different. I know hamjapata nafasi ya kuuliza maswali, and this is the conversation where you are the ones who are going to have the conversation, not me. So karibuni sana to the orange economy. Nasikia hapa kulikuwa na green gold, so here exploring the vibrant potential of Language, is a teacher and language teacher trainer. Also, he has worked as a director of Alliance in India and Madagascar. A full-service law firm with offices in Nairobi, Mombasa, Kwale, and Dubai. Yeah, also a director of Sanaa kama Biashara, a business incubator for creatives in Kenya. So tayarisheni maswali yenu tafadhali. Naomba tumpigie makofi.
Your waist, my heart, awe unanikuna.
Asante. Babelynn, that's a very interesting name which I like. Babelynn Mukila. She's the CEO of the Diversity Extravaganza Initiative. She's also the former Miss Deaf Africa 2018 and the former Miss Tourism Mombasa County 2016. Tumpigie makofi. Asante. Alafu pia she's currently working at the County of Mombasa Department of Youth, Gender, Sports and Social Services. Naomba tumpigie makofi na tupigie Mombasa County makofi. Inclusivity is key. I think the PS has talked about that. It's one of the key elements, especially in this year's Pwani Innovation Week. Now, Director, you had some interesting insights when it comes to the creative industry. So maybe you can share them. Babelynn, there's a microphone just next to you.
Thank you, Stephanie. First, I'd like to thanks for the invitation. Thank you, Mahmoud, and congratulations. I was not there last year, and I can imagine the amount of work by your team to put up like this one-week event, and I'm very impressed. And I want to congratulate you and your team, especially the ushers, the security, and all the little hands who put that together. So thank you for the invitation. Yes, Stephanie, we discussed yesterday, and when I received the theme, I come from a country where we like to talk about politics. And I think the theme is highly political. You know, even using the term like orange economy or using the term, whatever you call it, like creative industry, it's not something natural. It's not something natural, and when it came like 10 years back, 15 years back in France, I mean Europe, at least in France, like most of the artists says, what are you talking about? You mix culture and economy? It's not something natural. I remember myself being a student in Paris and demonstrating in the street. I mean, it's about, in France, it's about also our political education. We demonstrate a lot. Sometimes we don't know why, but we demonstrate a lot, holding a signboard like culture is not on sale. Culture is not on sale. So it means when you use this word, you already choose a model. Like creative industry, we choose a model, and I think there are also other models to explore when you talk about cultural policy. 1 minute, Steph. I was preparing this discussion. Like in 1993, there was the debate at the World Trade Organization, the General Agreements on Tariffs and Trade. And at that time, France was pushing so that cultural goods cannot be included like any kind of goods in the free market, just to give the possibility to the country to protect their own content, to put quotas, measures, so it was called at that time exception culturelle in French, cultural exception. Then it leads at the UNESCO 10 years later of what you call like cultural diversity. And at that time, I don't want to be too much politic, but at that time there was like 148 countries voted for. It was pushed at that time by Canada, Belgium, and France. 2 countries voted against this new law to protect cultural diversity, the US and Israel. So I don't want it to be a debate like between left and right-wing politics, but I think it's very important to say that we're taking a huge risk for like commodification, like homogenization of culture if we leave the culture to just like the platform, Netflix, Amazon, Google, etc.
Okay, so wait. What I'm hearing is that we are selling our culture. Is that what you're saying, Director? Oh, wait, let us hear from the other panelists. That's all I heard, like we are selling our culture, and rather we are losing our culture slowly. You know, what do you think, Daisy?
Thank you, Maseki. I didn't expect us to be political from the word go, but we'll handle it. I look at the creative economy very differently. For a long time, it's been a sector. I'm still using the word that he disagrees with, but I look at it as a sector that is very multi-layered, right? So until last year, 2019, 2020, officially the UN organizations did qualify, or rather categorize, the creative economy into 6 subsectors. So you're seeing film and theater as 1, music and performance as 2, digital media as 3, culture and heritage as 4, 5 you're looking at craft, and then 6 you're looking at fashion and design. So when it comes to culture and heritage, then that conversation does make sense. That under the subsector, culture and heritage, it is very difficult to actually monetize it as a whole pillar of a labor market. But when you look at the other sectors, film and theater, you look at fashion and design, you look at digital media, those are sectors that actually are able to employ, give jobs, provide a country or even a community with livelihood. So it is easy to trade. If I am a fashion designer, I don't necessarily have to do fashion that relates to heritage and culture. I could decide I am doing wholesale fashion. I'm printing t-shirts, I'm selling. That is something that you can exchange as a good. But when it comes to culture, it's very difficult for me to say, as Daisy, I own a certain part of my culture, I want to sell. The question is, you're selling as who? Who gives you the mandate to say we are selling this culture? But I would say, partly, I agree, under subsector culture and heritage, it's not for sale. It's for experience. It's for preservation. But the rest of the 5 subsectors have a lot of opportunities to fund, to generate income. Yeah.
But is it also right to say that the part of culture where we are not selling per se, but we know when it comes to tourism, so many tourists come to Kenya for our culture.
Yes.
Because we have extremely a big culture to celebrate. And so we invite them to come and celebrate it with us. And so there's a lot of revenue that comes with that, right? So we are not really per se selling the culture. But I think I understand where the director is coming from, especially when it comes to Netflix and all. And I don't know what anybody has to say about it. I don't know if anyone else has anything to say about it. Felicia has something to say. Leon?
But actually, I wanted to add on that. She has said it all, but I think the orange economy aspect came with the advent of intellectual property aspect, where everyone has to protect what belongs to him. And as you have said as well, we have to find a way where we benefit from what is our own. Like, what is it of value if I have a talent, if I have a certain craft, if it doesn't benefit me? Like, so I agree on part, and I disagree on the other part. Like, we are not selling, but we have to benefit from what is our own. Yes. Thanks.
Okay, so now that makes me think like, okay, so zamani ilikuwa ni aje? Yani zamani za kale. Mnakumbuka zamani za kale? Wazee wetu walikuwa na benefit from the culture because they actually really like practice it. Felicia, as we proceed.
I think my opinion, we are not selling. Hatuiuzi, tunakuwa tu wakali na utamaduni wetu, because people have come, like chondo kilienda, saizi watu wanabeba mibuyu. Tunaweza anza kuuziwa mabuyu from China, which will be weird. So I think we are just packaging. We're taking charge of our cultural expressions so that we can control how it's going out, so that we benefit, as he says.
Sawa, sawa. Asante. Babelynn, what do you have to say about that?
Okay, thank you so much. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Babelynn Mukila, and my sign name is Babelynn. So I cannot hear, I am deaf, and I use sign language. So I hope everyone sees me clearly. So I feel we are not selling our culture, but we are trying to monitor it. And we are really trying to come up with some things that our old generation used to do a long time ago. So that's all about it. So we are not supposed to be discouraged about our culture, and let's try and learn more and keep on socializing so that we can be able to remember and keep our culture and keep our fire burning. And I would like to tell you about the deaf. Let's try and socialize. We, the deaf community, have our culture as well, and we are really trying to keep it up as well. We can't communicate, but we can work everything. So once you meet us, let us socialize and let us mingle and do things together, because we are able differently as well. And let us help people become aware of everything that is happening in our country, Kenya. Because my parents are not deaf, and once they realized that they have a deaf kid, they just embraced me. So let's keep everything equal, and let's agree that culture is very important for us as Kenyans to keep, and let's keep it together. So,
Asante.
Thank you.
Asante sana, Babelynn. And maybe just to wind up this conversation, let me just wear my cap as a director of the Kenya Film Classification Board. Now I will agree with the director, because I think maybe part of why he's saying probably maybe we are selling our culture, and he mentioned all the TV platforms and what is actually happening on our TV stations now. You go and you see cartoons and you see things that we never watched as kids. You know, probably you watch some of the channels, I'm not going to mention them, I think we know them. And you see some things that we as Kenyans, as Africans, would never practice. So I guess maybe that is why the director is saying that we are kind of selling our culture, because we are allowing our culture to be influenced by the Western. Yeah?
I was not talking about Kenya itself, even in France. Even in France, I grew up with quota, where like all the content in TV was in French. I watched my first movie in English when I was 20 years old. Maybe you can see my English, it's been, that's one of the consequences of that. But then I'm saying like, yeah, coming back to Netflix, that's a very big issue. So I think policy like, and the place of, if we do like limited government intervention, that we're going in a very into the wall.
Asante sana. Naona hiyo issue director amekazania sana, and I think Bwana PS, that is a conversation that we are actually still having. Not even still having, I think that is a conversation we've already had, and some measures are being put in place. We are in conversation with Netflix. We already have some key agreements on that. So thank you so much for that. Now to I'm just going to ask you one question each, and kindly take the least time possible, if possible, a minute to respond to it. And first, Lucas, maybe just, because you're in Kenya and having been to two different countries, India and Madagascar, and I know India, the film industry is huge in India. I don't know whether it's because of the population. I know but Madagascar has amazing cultural, it has an amazing cultural adversity, because we've had them here in Swahili Pot before and we experienced something different. So are there any specific, what is it that you can share that you think is different with them or with us? I'm not going to ask who is better, no, but we all learn from each other.
I was in India 10 years ago. I was in India last month, actually, also, being in a movie theater in Bangalore. Bangalore is the city of IT in South India. And then you can see how they protect local content. I was in a movie theater with like hundreds of people. They're releasing not a Bollywood movie, like a Nollywood movie, because there is not only Bollywood, there is like, they produce like 1,500 movie every year in average. 200 from Bollywood, so in Hindi language, but there's also Pollywood in Punjabi language, there's also Kollywood for Tamil language, and then there are huge market for all those language. And then at the premiere, all the people knew the title songs before. So there's all the title song, they were like singing so you see like how they market those films. It's quite impressive. So yeah, that's about India. Maybe not I can talk about Madagascar, but the colleagues will.
Thank you for starting us off with that, because the only thing I think I've noticed quite a lot as a filmmaker is that we have a lot of foreign content on our TV channels. And I will ask Tanzania, because the director talked about protecting our content creators in Kenya, and I'm not sure whether we have quite done that. By actually allowing probably only Kenyan content on our TV. I don't know if we have enough, either way, enough TV content. But then Tanzania, you know, I'm a filmmaker and I'm an actor. And the one thing, and I'm not attacking you, sawa? Wajua wewe ni panelist wangu. But the one thing I know about Tanzania is that I think 90% of your content is what is played in your TV stations. I remember there was a time I did a pitch to a Tanzanian TV station. And the pitch, of course, it had Kenyan actors, and and Tanzanian actor. And then the TV station's manager was like, Stephanie, now this has to be the other way around. All the actors have to be Tanzanians. Maybe probably you can have only one Kenyan actor. Yes? Yeah, as in fine, that time I felt like, okay. You know, but now, thinking about protecting us as creative within our own country, I think that makes a lot of sense. And maybe that is that why in Tanzania you are a bit successful, especially when it comes to protecting your own artists and artists' rights. In turn, at least creating a wealth for them.
So I'm much based in the music industry. I don't know much about film, but I must agree that you know, the protection aspect is something that came up on the recent, but it used to be, I think, a challenge in all East African countries. But what I know, I mean, in actually the music, in media, like what is played on media, the law states that the 60% of the content has to be local. That's much of what I know on the local content aspect.
Ask you, do you play 60% local content in Tanzania?
I cannot tell for sure, but honestly, we see a lot of Tanzanian content. Maybe I can connect with music because I am more proficient in music. One thing that I must say. So first, you mentioned that we have succeeded, and thank you for recognizing that.
We think you have.
Yeah, and I think one aspect that has made us. We are not there, but we're on the right path. Mm-hmm. And one thing that have helped us to achieve that, maybe it's a language commonality. You see in Tanzania, almost like 98% of people knows and speaks Swahili. So even content creators use Swahili to tell their stories. So it is even easier to penetrate in different aspects. So I think that's has been has been one of the success criteria for us on that aspect.
Okay, thank you. Talking about creating wealth, Daisy. Wewe ni wale watu wa pesa. I know you have amazing, very, very extensive experience when it comes to funding and grant management, as well as investor relations. So maybe what strategies or best practices can you recommend for artists and creative entrepreneurs? Because I think most of us as creatives, we don't take this as a business. And maybe this is where your expertise comes in, just to let artists know that this is a business, not just passion. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that question. Because this is one conversation that keeps on being asked over and over again. You ask an artist, or I'd rather use the word creative, because I umbrella everyone, not just performing artists. You ask them, what support do you need? The first thing they'll tell you, I need money, I need funding. So you give them funding. The first thing they do is they buy equipment. Then they're back to, I need funding. So the question of sustainability has continued to be a very huge struggle, especially from investors. The question is, how long can I fund you? And at what point are you going to have return on this particular investment, right? So what I have done in the last years of working with over 300 creatives who are starting is that you have to start as a business. First of all, you pitch it as a business. You don't pitch it as, I'm really good at singing. Yes, we recognize you're good at singing, at dancing, at making production, but I am an investor. I want to know, if I give you 20 million, well, how does that look like? Would you take 70% of that doing equipment? And then now we come back 5 years, you're saying, oh, we have machines, but we don't have anything. See, that is where the disconnect is continuously being. I'd give one case study that we did. We took a fashion designer. She does beadwork. Everyone here is beadwork. You have it tagged Kenya, really proud. And she used to do this in her bedroom. Like, she didn't have an office, she didn't have anything. We took her through an incubator program. We looked at, you're running this as a business, what are your gaps? And she kept on saying, oh, you know, a lot of people are doing beadwork. Now, how do I stand out? How do I sell? And we took her through a training session where we are asking her, can you think outside the box? What can you do with this beat that no one is doing? We brought in teams of experts to help with design. I'll cut the story short. Afterwards, 6 months into the program, what we did is we provided funding for her to register the business, right? Open social media account, you are able to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pictures, you have done good beadwork. The next level of support now was, how can we help you move from selling only in Nairobi to selling in the UK? So we brought a team of experts from the UK for an exchange program. She was featured in London Fashion Week. And she called me and she's telling me this has happened, and I'm making a joke with her. I'm telling her now, do you know that now I can't afford you? Like, that's what it means. Yeah. And for us, it's, you look at it from an aspect of innovation. Funding and innovation go together. You cannot come and do the same thing people have done for the last 20 years, ask for funding and say you will do it differently, but you're not doing anything about it. So for her, she's moved away from selling to the neighbors, the friends. Now she is having her pieces featured in Fashion Week, in designers and musicians, a different niche that she didn't have. So I would recommend that as a strategy for them. Yeah.
Okay, so in short, what I'm saying, what I'm hearing is that we take them through the process. When someone comes to you, tells you they need money, like it's an entire process. It's not about, because the idea is good, but then how do you make money at the end of it all? Yesterday we had a session here. Was it yesterday? We had a women in tech session here.
Yes.
And we were discussing about, there's a table. You've been given a place at the table. But then what is the value that you add onto that table? It's not just having a space at the table.
Yes.
So it's the process. And I think the biggest challenge we've had for a very long time is that investors and the business communities are afraid to invest in the art business. Yes or no, Daisy?
I wouldn't use the word afraid.
It's not afraid. What's the word?
No, they're not afraid. The word here is, I'm not seeing the value.
Okay.
I'm not seeing the value of my money. And that's a huge problem if you're an investor.
So that's it, the value?
Yes.
Okay. Sawa. Thank you so much. Babelynn, you mentioned that you have an hearing impairment. But then maybe just to ask, within the creative industry or the orange economy, do you see any efforts that are being made to represent for the PWDs to be represented within as artists and creators with disabilities in the various sectors of the orange economy? Are there efforts for that? Are we trying? Are we there yet? Are we not? What do you think?
Okay, so thank you so much for this opportunity. So I would like to talk about the orange economy. Yes, there are some efforts they've made. And we have objectives for the deafs. And we stand strong doing things. For the first time, the deaf sing, the deaf interact with other people, how we learn, and we empower each other. And you know, we do, but for us, if we do things, there are people who see us and feel so sorry for us. So I would like to tell people so that they should not feel sorry for us and try and learn sign language, because you know, we have the PWD around, and the disabled also can. We sing, we do everything, and I do that through the Extravaganza, which is my initiative that I came up with. We have a music team for the deaf, and we believe in each other. So the only thing that we need from people is encouragement. And we create awareness. We have Deaf Awareness Week that happened initially. So we would like to show the deaf and disabled that them can as well.
Okay, thank you. Asante sana. Felicia, nitakuuliza swali ambalo nikuulize ama tu niache useme. It's the question, she's a lawyer. It's the question that is asked always in every single platform ya wasanii. Intellectual property. Intellectual property. Kindly take as little time as possible so that we can give our audience time to respond, to ask questions as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I think intellectual property, one problem with Kenya, we have enough laws to protect our IP. Mm-hmm. The only problem is people don't know about them, especially the creatives themselves. So the best place to start is to tell creatives about, to educate them about their rights. So for example, if you take a film, a whole movie, every participant in that movie needs to know where their IP, what IP they were creating to it and who owns what. So in the end, it's a producer who owns all the IP, but the actor, they knew their value. So for them, it's the performance rights. So because they know that they are creating some IP, they're able to negotiate a better pay. You have the crew, they know the IP they're creating and how it's feeding into the whole movie. So I think step one is educating people so that creatives are aware. And yesterday I was talking to a more established creative, and they were showing me the new, I don't know whether they're new, but she was showing me rates, KFB rates for payment, like a proposed rate card. Yeah. And she was telling me, if you just take that red card, you are on set for 10 days, and you need 6 million to just pay the crew before you start paying cast, you start paying for locations, you start paying for what. So, which investor will give you 20 million to do a movie? And especially if you're just a young, upcoming creator, probably not. So I think what would work then would be pushing creatives towards collaboration. So there's somebody with equipment, there's somebody with the script, but for all these collaborations or the partnership to work, everybody needs to know what value is being brought in, so that a scriptwriter can accept, I will give you my script, I'm not making money now, but I know what I'm contributing, we have it in a contract. When we sell this, we find a way to distribute it, this is how we are sharing revenue. So you have people, maybe just to begin with, people now coming, just bringing in what they have and agreeing to distribute together. And that way, there'll be all sorts of people promoting that product because everybody's stake is there. So I think that maybe the county government, and I'm glad the CEC is here, that could be something, just creating hubs for these creatives to mingle and build trust amongst each other.
Thank you so much, Felicia. Naomba tuwapigie makofi. I want us to transition and you know, like, I know you guys have questions, and I would like to know.
Sorry, Babelynn has a question.
Sorry, or you have something to say?
Yes.
Babelynn.
So I would like to tell something about awareness and show other people the hearing true. I can support you, you said the truth, but the challenge, sometimes the deaf misinformation for how they can learn and empower people and equality. So we can get from other people, maybe, for example, Charlene Ruto, she can socialize with the deaf people and she's already empowered and can learn sign language and talk to the deaf people. So she can know how we can miss information and the challenges we got, the KSL bill, for example, we miss opportunities a lot. It's not there in the constitution, in the parliament. So we need to advocate. We have been advocating and we really need to advocate for a very long time. So maybe I would like people to learn sign language, maybe the teachers, and people get certificates, but what about the practicing? Maybe Charlene Ruto saw it and then she went ahead and learned the sign language. And that's how she's in a position to talk with the deaf. And that's how she comes to know the challenges that we get. That's how she gets to know more about the deaf culture. So I would like you to encourage people as well to learn sign language and embrace the disabled as well, so that we can be able to get to know the challenges and be able to help them as well and encounter the inclusivity part well. So maybe we can do wrong, we can do something, the teacher might be doing something wrong, but how will you know that? We need to calculate and empower people so that we know and we can see the challenges that other people are seeing, and we can stand strong for the world. So thank you so much, and that's all.
Thank you. This reminds me, and I think in most of the panel conversations that we are talking about inclusivity, there's something that is coming out clear. Where there is no inclusivity, you'd find that there is a lot of stigma in the community. So you'd find it's not like the PWDs are not engaged or they're not engaging, but it's like the society or the communities around us are not, you know, they're not accommodating enough. You know, yeah, so thank you so much, Babelynn, for bringing out that. Ningeomba maswali, nani yako na maswali? Nimeona mkono pale. Microphone, ningeomba tafadhali mtu anipelekee microphone kwa huyo mwanadada.
Hello,
Hi.
My name is Jace Ogino. I'm a scientist, and I'm currently looking at leveraging innovations for better food system futures. And as part of doing that, I'm engaging a lot of art-based methods to do that as a way of giving expression to people's imagination. What do they want in the future? Also to better communicate, and also to give my work more relevance in terms of policy and practice. So my question is, how can we as scientists engage with artists? Where do we even start? How do we collaborate together? Because Most of our scientific work just remains in publications. People can't read, people can't understand. Yeah, there's a lot that can really help policy, practice, create awareness. So how do we better engage? How do we work together?
Thank you so much for that. She's a scientist, she's asking, because most of their work, they still remain in publications. So they're asking, they want to get their work out there and they want to use art for that. So what are some of the methodologies we can use for that? And Daisy, you'll respond to that. Thank you so much. Next question. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. My name is Elizabeth. From what Daisy has said, that it should be looked at as a business.
Yes.
I think it's a challenge for the rest of us, especially in policy, because we already have skills gap in entrepreneurship. We have, in every sector, we have lawyers, we have doctors, we have vets who come out of school, but they don't start business because they don't have entrepreneurship skills. So the challenge that I've had from listening to Daisy is that for us to do talent development and change it to monetize it, then we need to also address that perennial problem of skills gap in entrepreneurship.
Thank you so much. Sanaa kama Biashara, I think that is what you guys do. So maybe you will speak just like a minute about that. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other questions? Oh, kuna swali pale juu? Pale juu? Ningeomba kama unaweza kuteremka ukutane na microphone. Asante.
Hello. So my question goes to on the inclusivity side. So PWDs, when they are in the high school, universities, they get recognized in festivals and they get the first positions, okay? And we know they have talent. But after that, what happens? Because after that, it's very hard to get a PWD that is up there and the talent is growing after festivals. So what happens to our PWDs? What should we do to make them get recognized and make them match to our topic this Innovation Week that we are selling beyond borders? What are we doing to assist them to make them be seen out there after festivals? Because they're only recognized until the festivals, they get a trophy and that's it. So what happens after that? Thank you.
Asante kwa hilo swali, na hilo ni swali nzuri sana kwa sababu leave alone PWDs. I think everyone after the drama festivals, they all disappear. All of them. So now, this particular special category disappears completely. So now, what happens and what can we do? Babelynn will take up that. There was some question somewhere?
Yes, my name is Maskonde. Nilikuwa nataka niulize swali moja that it is there is an illusion and there is fact. Maybe your story ya SRC kutuwekea hizo rates na vitu kama hizo, maybe inaonekana venye majuu wako. So maybe they transact whatever it's been done in Hollywood, wanaleta hivi. Now, my big question is, can the government directly involve sisi mahustlers wenye tumekuwa kwa film industry since tuzaliwe? Na wenye tumejua hii kitu kabisa, tunaweza waambia sisi tumefanya extras, tunalipwa hivi. Na sisi wenye tunaanza sinema, sisi wenyewe tunataka kujianzia sinema, kuna vitu zinaitwa pro bono, kuna vitu zingine zenye tunaweza hire ABCD. So wakituwekea price ati kuhaya kamera ni sijui ni 5,000 na sisi tumezoea kuhaya 1,000, si wanatuumiza. So I think wanafaa kutuongelesha public participation, tuingie.
Wait, I didn't get that. So what do you want the government to do?
Like inclusivity yenye amesema.
Just a moment. The CEC, Mr. Kenambani, Waziri Kenambani will take up that.
Yes, nasema like the illusion enye labda wamekaa wakaangalia the upper market bila kutu involve.
Okay.
Yes, so yeah.
Yes, okay.
My name is Godfrey Afula. What I'm trying to understand from his perspective is that from the SRC, they have given up their rates, okay? So the rates that we are supposed to pay the actors, kuanzia chini mpaka juu, okay? As Madam has said, unapata, when you total it up, it is around, seme 5 million, even if we say 2 million, for example. Ule msanii yako pale chini kabisa ambaye anataka kuanzisha film, ambaye ni producer, upcoming, akisema ni kufollow the rates za SRC, inakuwa ni ngumu because we mwenyewe hakuna mali utatoa the 5 million. Hata uende kwa hiyo sponsor, she saying haizi kupatia 20 million as an upcoming. So how can we, as in venye nauliza, how can the government at least to try to understand that kuna wale established akina Maisha Magic, Sultana, alafu kuna ule msanii ako pale chini pwani ambaye anataka kuanza. What is the
okay, so in short we are talking about filming rates. Filming rates, right?
Yes, film rates,
okay,
and
thank you.
Public participation.
Public participation,
involved.
you want to be involved.
Yes.
Lakini mimi niko na shida hapo. Mimi wacheni nitetee serikali, maana sasa wacheni niingie kwa serikali. Sisi tukitoa public participation huwa tunaenda. Huwa tunaenda. No, tuambieni ukweli. Huwa tunaenda public participation. Twaenda ama hatuendi? Hatuendi Sasa tunataka kuitwa tena vipi? Jamaa, mimi ni msanii. So, but tumesikia Waziri Ken Ambani, you will take up that question. Okay? Thank you so much. Any other question? The last question. Kuna swali pale juu. Naomba tupitishe hiyo microphone. Kuna swali pale juu.